And at that time, my reply was, guys, I'm not even a member of JCNC. How can you? And people knew Neeraj, nobody knew me. So they called me over here in November. Special meeting was held, and they said, we're going to elect a president who's not even a member. But then I became a life member of the organization. So 96, I took over as president. We started the Jan Bhavan project at that time. Okay, went through the process. And then, as I said, when it came 97, my health episode took place, but I told my committee, this project has to continue. It cannot stop. But then, 98, when I decided to shut my company CTI, I said, I'm going to take 3 years off and dedicate myself to Jan Bhavan construction. So, that is when I decided I'm going to be 100% on this project. We're going to run it, build it like a company. And that's what we did. This was like a startup for us. We formed company, full committee. It was like an executive committee. Ran the project. 2000, with God's blessings, we had our temple.
Very interesting. So, this is very interesting to see back in the days when people were very successful and a lot of people were, Indian people were coming from IIT and VC is not supporting them. So after health episode, after the color episode, I would call it, what were the key things so you did to identify your key member? Because you were out of commission for 3 years, now you have to rebuild something to sell it. And after a break, always there is an inertia. So what were the key things you kept in mind to select it?
So during the Bhavan, the only thing was Jan Bhavan construction. 14 months that we were from groundbreaking to completion, I went to India 11 times. So clearly there was no time to really do anything. During that time, actually, I think it was 98, actually another very interesting thing happened. I was invited by Governor of California. He offered me a job to become Energy Commissioner of the state of California. This was, he said, you're going to be 5 commissioners, and they are big guys, as you know, $15 million and all that stuff. So he said, you're going to handle that. So I told him, do I need to move to Sacramento? He said, yes, for at least 4 days. I said, I can't do that. I'm in the middle of my Jan Bhavan construction project. I cannot do that. Please excuse me. If I can run from San Jose, I can look at it, but moving to Sacramento is out of question. So he tried to tell me, Praveen, this is a stepping stone to get into federal government. I said, I know it, but with luck, I will get another chance, but at this stage my focus is on completing Jan Bhavan. So 98 to 2000, there was no bandwidth to do anything. It was completely 100% Jan Bhavan construction. 2000, when we were at a stage that I thought we have made progress, we are on the right path, and August 2000 was the anniversary of Pratishtha ceremony. So around, I would say, spring of 2000, I said, I need to start looking into my career now, what do I want to do? Having spent time in the utility business and seeing that they are not halfway as innovative and aggressive as I wanted to be, I said, I'm going to switch. Like I did in education, looked at various things, I said, I'm going to get into networking and security. And my friend said, are you crazy? Nuclear power plants, fossil power plants, and not networking and security. I said, okay, I'll give it a shot. So literally, I spent 6 months in the library doing all kind of research so that I could prepare myself to get into this field. So by that time, Jan Bhavan project was coming to end. So I got myself totally focused on security, spent about 6 months doing all the research and everything. Then by the time we were in September timeframe, I decided I'm going to start a company. Until then I was one-man show, and I had identified intrusion prevention and detection as the area I want to go. Around October, November timeframe, I started assembling the team. Luck would have it, within about a month and a half, we got our first round of funding. We started the company in January 2001, January 2001. 2.5 years later, we exited with no revenue, with a bunch of beta customers. We sold the company for $100 million to McAfee.
That was the best one. With no customers, or beta customers, selling it the best. Because right now people are struggling with their customers. Just so you know.
I know it.
I just want to stress it on that. So, after inertia, you started to form the company, a new field. What was your worst anxiety? What was the thought kept you awake in the night on your toes?
So here's the thing. I think once I get on a project, I make my resolution, and I'm very scared of failure. I'm very scared of number two. Okay? I do, honestly, I just hate that word, failure. But my whole energy is spent on how do I do the right things rather than how do I fix the wrong things. Okay, so whole energy was how do we build a company. We were innovative. We were the first ones to come up with that, and we had to compete with Cisco, who had about 30% market share, and there was a company called ISS at that time. They had about 40% market share. Cisco, obviously, ISS was another public company. But we went head on and we showed them, what we can build. So again, very exciting times in building that company. My lack of deep understanding of that space actually helped me, because in that case, I truly was a CEO. I was not CTO, I was not VP engineering, I was not any of those. I was pure CEO looking at how do I build this company, do the best for the company.
So let's get back to, because it's pretty interesting, somebody at the peak of the career refusing a commissioner job from the state of California, devoting all the time in the world to build a Jain Bhavan. And that too also a Bhavan which is dedicated to the community, not withholding the entire in the capacity of it. What, and you talked about your Maharaj, because I've seen even your car number plate has Guru Kripa on it. How has spiritually or the learning, let me put it this way, how important is to have a guru in life, and how his spirituality or the principle has helped you?
So I think it's very, very important, very critical to have a guru. But at the same time, you don't pick a guru, guru picks you. Okay? And I, being stupid, analytical mind, when I met Guruji in 79, it took me about 10 years to really get close to him. Because in my mind, I was analyzing, I was testing, and Guruji was completely okay with that. And that is another learning experience for me, a teaching for me. Let's not follow any guru, any faith, any religion blindly. Okay? And this is the responsibility of the leaders of any organization, that you really have to analyze it, do the right things in bringing the right kind of people to your organization. So I took that much time. I was very comfortable. Guruji was very comfortable. He knew in his mind, one of these days he's going to come to me. But he never asked me, Parveen, do this, come close to me, do this. It was total volunteer. Okay? And it was around 89 when we started getting close. And then by the time it was 94, if we didn't speak for a day, he would tell me, Babu, kya hua? Why aren't you calling me? So it was just very, very fortunate thing for me to have a soul like him to guide me. And honestly, I always thought when you are with a guru or anybody, you always thought this person is going to be with you. I never spent time with him to sit with him and ask for, teach me something. Because I thought he's going to be with me all the times. And suddenly he left, then I realized there is a huge void. But then you have to learn from his behavior. You have to learn from his own experiences. You have to learn from those kind of things that guides you.
But how did you manage it? You were here all entirely you said you met him in 79 and analytical mind could not connect with him, took 10 years. But how did that long distance?
So he was in the US for about half the time. He built a place called Siddhachalam on the east coast. He is the founder of that. That is actually turning out to be a Jain Tirth in Western region, because last year we completed a project to bring Shikharji to Siddhachalam. So he inspired many, many people. And to me, you know, sadhu, literally, I look at it as a person you find very rarely, a real sadhu. And to me, he transformed the life for me, without saying it.
So that's pretty interesting that spending 10 years with somebody and then not knowing him well, but when he goes away after a certain period of time, you feel what. So this is the spiritual part of it. And spirituality always helps, and there's always a guru. But how did Jainism, or the basic principle of it, help you succeeding in this?
Yeah. So I think one of the key things Guruji told me, and this is what Jainism is. One of the key things Guruji told me is that destiny is going to make you. Destiny is going to create events for you. Your purusharth, your hard work is going to make you. Okay? So what we come across in life is the result of what we have done in our previous lives. Okay? But as the things come to us, it depends on how we handle those things as they come to us. Okay? I'll give you a couple of examples. For example, he told me once, I was just sitting, he says, Praveen, any dollar that you don't deserve, nobody can give it to you. So don't blame anybody. Okay? Any dollar you don't deserve, nobody can give it to you. So don't praise anybody, including me. That's what he said. Okay? And that is something that has stuck with me. So when I went through the experience of computing technologies going under, and I knew one board member, one investor was totally responsible. I'm shutting down this company and I'm trying to set my mind, it's not his fault. Okay? He just became a vehicle, he just became a tool to deliver to me what I deserved. Okay? So there is no point hating him, and honest to goodness guys, I have no ill feelings towards him. Even when I talk negative about him, it's very objective. That, you know, this is what happened, but that's not with ill feeling. So I think that is something that has stuck with me. Okay? When we were doing this Jan Bhavan project with two boys, Puneet was in high school, Manu was in middle school, devoting all my life to it, with not having shut down the company, with not any bank balance. Still, and first of all, I admire my wife. She supported me through this thing. Okay? But going through this thing, I had my faith. You know, this is the project in my hand. I have been so fortunate. People have to take 10 birds, 12 birds to get a project like this. Okay, it came in our hands. We are able to fulfill it, and we'll see the future when it comes.
It's interesting. You will never get what you don't deserve. So, you in last 45 minutes we talked about your journey from expert is from the computer technology into what we get CMO, then jovial data, and I think that is what the company you exited out during 10th year anniversary.
Yeah, yep. Actually, I was negotiating during our program here upstairs.
Yeah, I know, because I overheard that time. So yeah, I distinctly remember that was the time he exited out. And Red Sea, journey been very exciting for you. It's been very successful for you. But one thing, you want to relook and say, I should have done that, and it would have made a change. Or it would have taken you to this direction. What is one thing which, if given a choice, what is one thing you would like to make a change?
So I wish in this life I had opened up more with my Guruji. That's my biggest regret of life.
Okay, very interesting, because people end up saying that I might have had a different team, but that would have given me a better choice. So let's talk about this, Praveenji, that 6 companies starting very early in career, color, racism. You have seen from the failure to success to no bank balance to $10 million company. What is the difference in corporate America in the different stages? So let's say how it was 10 years back versus what you see now.
Yeah. So I think the bottom line in any corporate world is people want to succeed. Okay. I think that's what everybody's striving for. There may be different ways of doing it. There may be different methods of doing it. I'll give you a silly example. You know, this chicken company, what is it called? It's out of Kansas.
Yeah,
So,
KFC.
2 years ago, this president and CEO stands up. We are doing great. We are cutting 50% more chickens than we did last year. You know, I'm thinking in my mind, this guy doesn't even know what he's doing. Okay, but the thing is, all of us want to succeed. The ways are different, the methods are different, but corporate America, in terms of shifting from there, earlier days, it was like, and it to some extent truthful. Indians, when they come here, they are very good engineers, they are very good at, I would say in 70s, we could get up to a director of engineering, not even VP engineering in most cases. Slowly then it shifted. And then in 80s and so, we saw more and more Indians or other foreigners getting to more executive positions and doing better and better. 90s, we saw that more of us are getting into CEO position. This is a natural transition because back in 60s and 70s, people did not know our abilities and we did not know how to work in corporate America. Okay, so now if we see that it still exists, but very small, amount, you can get over that easily. So I think corporate America has shifted. I think that the quality of life in corporate America has gone down. Everybody knows it. It used to be much more ethical. It used to be much more sort of fun. It used to be those kind of things. But now, because of the Wall Street, bottom line profits are overriding everything else. So we have to live within that system. So I think things are changing in that perspective. But in my view, still, this is the best place in the world for foreigners to come and do things. I can tell you firsthand, I know friends who have tried to do things in Scandinavia, particularly in Sweden. People talk a lot about, racial integration and all that, but when they face the reality, behavior is very different. This is the only country where open arms, you get full opportunity, it's up to you to succeed or not succeed. All the facilities are available.
That's great. So, a lot to learn from it, an hour is less. But we want a key mantra. If somebody, what would be your advice to somebody new just starting?
So I think as an entrepreneur, particularly if you want to get into entrepreneurship, okay, the ability to look into the eyes of defeat and get success out of that ability, that tendency, that culture, that drive is very critical. Okay, as I said, I hate the word defeat, failure. I think that's what you have to build into yourself, that I'm going to find a way to succeed. There are going to be ups and downs. Okay. Second thing is, it's always from individual perspective. The commitment is always family commitment. Your family has to be with you. Your wife, your spouse, your kids, they have to be with you, otherwise you won't succeed. That's very important. And then do the things in the right way. Don't look for shortcuts. Don't look for things like that. Yes, shortcuts can bring you success quickly, but it will not give you spiritual satisfaction that you're looking for. Okay, that's very important. Be ethical, and when I say ethical and high integrity, it's you looking into the mirror and saying that I'm doing okay, not anybody else saying it. Okay, that's very important. Okay, these are the kind of things, particularly if you want to get into the leadership position of CEO or any executive positions and all that, you have to be able to carry these things with confidence.
So ethical shift, do not take shortcuts, some of are the key things. So with this, what we'll do is we'll open up the floor for question and answer. And then, so the mic is in the back. If somebody can just take it out and hand it over, that would be perfect. And it's on mute right now. So. While we're setting up the Q&A,
Sunil, I don't think we can take it up. It's just
Start.
that mic.
It'll be fine. It'll be fine. Oh, I see.
it just died, so you can see.
I think people can come up here and talk.
That's fine.
That's better.
So Praveenji, while people have any questions, right? One thing which we did not ask you and you would like to share with the community or at least if not, if it doesn't come anything come in your mind, right? One interesting story about the JCNC history. That's my plan.
Ooh, I can give you a lot of stories on that. I think I'm very proud of our community. Okay, this is a very unique community. Nowhere in this country or in this world we have a community like this. Highly motivated, united, multi-languages, multi-regions and all that stuff. So I think working this community was really exciting. But as we go through the process, there are events that happen, there are things that happen that as a leader, you really have to sort of look into that. I'll give you two simple examples. One is, back in 2000, I was in India. We had to go through the Digambar Pratishtha ceremony in Jaipur. So I go there and we had to build three murtis, two small ones and a big one, Gabhara, as you see on the Digambar side. So we had started, I knew that some of these stones are not going to be good, so we started on 12, 13 stones, and we told these are all marble Makrana, and we told the guy, we'll pay for all, but out of this, we'll pick the best. So I go there, February 6th, 2000 was the Digambar Pratishtha, and I got an emergency call on 2nd, and I landed in Delhi. You got to come right away to Jaipur. So I went there, and they tell me, look at all the pratimas, pick the ones that you want. I liked two small pratimas. I did not like any of the three large pratimas. And there was another small one that I liked. So the guy tells me, don't worry, Parveen, we'll put a 4 inches slab, asan, under the small one, and it'll make it look big compared to the others. I said, that's cheating. Okay, this doesn't work. We have to do a real murti. He said, I cannot do it. I don't have any. You rejected all. I said, okay, let's get a stone, start carving another one. 2nd of February, believe it or not, we started carving a pratima. I told them, work 24/7. Let's get to the place when it's ready. 6th of February, 12:45 was the pratishtha time. We got that pratima in the hall at 11:30. 11:45 was the time for pratishtha. Now, this doesn't happen because I did it, but this happened because our destiny was doing it for us. We knew that this project is so precious that there will be ways for it to get done, and it happened. Then we did that, I came over here, and the entire committee, Nitin, you might remember that, this entire committee, I had signed around 10,000 cards before leaving for India to go and mail that, all the invitees and all that. I come here, all the cards are sitting there, so I asked, what is going on? Nobody would answer. I said, why didn't we mail the card? Nobody would answer. So it took me 2 days, I kept asking, finally I asked a person, I said, privately, tell me what is going on. He says, Parveen, everybody thinks you're crazy. We are in March time frame. The pratishtha is going to happen in August, about 5 months away. There is no way we can complete this temple. Because a lot of things were undone, a lot of work was done. And they said, we are going to postpone the pratishtha. I said, no, pratishtha is going to happen on August 5th. That is the scheduled date. And even if we have to do it myself, I will lead it, but we are going to do it that day. So I sat with, and fortunately we had just marvelous executive committee and the volunteers to work with. I sat with the executive committee, I said, okay, rather than saying it's not going to happen, tell me what can be done
To make it happen.
by 4th of August. What can be achieved? We went through piece by piece, bit by bit. Finally, only thing that Bipin Bhai told me we cannot do is the carpeting on this auditorium. So I said, what's the problem? Okay, they said even the marble upstairs may or may not be done. I said, what's the problem? Okay, we kept the date, believe it or not, everything came together. This floor was being laid, the carpet was being laid on the 3rd of August, but 4th morning it was done. So again, it's not us who do it, it's the energy that is around it. You know, that had to do it.
Good. Thank you for sharing it. So we'll open up floor for the questions.
Okay, so I'll start. Yeah, so my name is Pradeep Kumar, software product manager. So I want to see, you have amazing experiences, right? I think experiences makes a person. And what I want to see is like, if you look at life in terms of decades, if you look at first 10 years of your life, a child wants certain things, child wants toys. 10 to 30 years you want something, 30 to 50 you want something. And so your perspective or your definition of success changes, right? We talk about work-life balance and the balance of, the spiritual success, the material success, the family success, and the definition of success. So what I want to know from you, having achieved so much in what we call success in today's world, going forward for next 10 years, next 20 years, what is going to be your definition of success and how are you going to define that balance? Thank you.
I think my success will be measured if I can continue to improve myself. So far, I've spent a lot of time on worldly things. I want to do my own academic, personal education and training. And that's going to be my goal. Hopefully, I can get on that path fairly soon, but that's where I want to get to.
I'm Prakash Jain. And one of the things I was kind of thinking when you were reciting your story, most of us get into a challenging situation where say we can't take the risk because you have some family obligations and your family wants to live in certain way. But looks like when you took the risk, or I don't know, maybe it's because of the first success, or at least later on you said you set up without doing anything for 3 years, and you did for the temple, dedicated yourself without doing it. How that worked out with your family and with that constant thinking that you have some obligation towards your family and yourself. And that's
So one thing I'll tell you, at least my Guruji told me, that your obligations to the family are number one priority. Okay? Everything comes second. Okay? And that was very important. But then, taking care of the family is all subjective, right? To somebody, taking care of family means I have to have, 12,000 square feet house, I have to have 3 Mercedes in my garage, and all that. To the other, the taking care of family could mean I want to make sure my sons go to the best school, they get the best opportunity, they get those kind of things, and I think that's a balance you have to create. Okay, as I said earlier, I never measured my success in terms of my bank balance. It was like, the key thing is, am I doing the right thing? So you have to create a balance. That's very important.
Those who don't know me, my name is Kamlesh Mehta, and for proper disclosures, I know Praveenji really well. And I'm very fortunate and very honored that I really know him reasonably well in a professional world, and of course in JCNC world, which is highly important for me. Praveenji, there are 2 questions for you. One is very simple and you don't have to think, you can just answer that question. $7 to thousands of millions of dollars you made. Are you available? We can start a company tomorrow. I will invest.
Depending on what type of company. If it's related to Jain religion, yes.
It's a fabulous story. Congratulations, really. The second thing I was wondering about the corporate world, entrepreneurship, venture world. So politics is always there.